Hi, this is Multi-Topic Talk. Welcome to this new deck profile. I lost the count, but I will tell you this. This following deck is part of a 15 deck rotation I just tested and played in the last 4 months or so. Maybe 5 months. With that being said, this is the eye casual deck, so this means it's not necessarily competitive, but it's enjoyable, playable, and maybe against other casual deck it can stand a chance. With that being said, welcome the Celestial Water Wind. Here's the Celestial Water Wind. So let's start with the zero drops. We got the classic Ataru, the best Ataru there ever was in the game, followed by Anare. You know her, right? You get to look at the end and you draw and charge. Then it's followed by Gara of the Desert Childhood, 3 copies of each ninjas we covered so far. These are zero drops. Now we got second Okage, one of our key card in the late game. One of the best card in this deck. Next up would be Jirobo State 1. So if you see it right, so far we have 12 zero drop. This is a number I highly recommend. This deck, however, has a bit more than this, and you will see soon why and how. Next up would be Kirin. You get to heal. Next up would be Shino Barame. You create a insect coin. Now, the reason why I added Shino there, it's because I felt like with the current rotation, I was lacking drop 1 and drop 2 ninjas for this deck. Because let's be honest, I have a water deck in that rotation. I have many wind decks. So I was like, okay, you know what? This deck will have more zero drop because of the current rotation of deck I do have. Next up would be Temari, the classic one, the broken one. I only run 2. First of all, it's because all the others are in other decks. And second, look, she is good, but she's only wind. And this deck is water wind. So this leads to the next up, to Sakura from Kage Summit. Now I will spend a bit more time with her because maybe you never have seen her before if you weren't playing back in the day, but she's interesting because she's both water and wind. She is a turn 2 drop, and because it's both water and wind, you will most likely get both effects she has, and both effects are enjoyable. The second effect is not that great with this specific deck. It's better when you run Naruto or like other potato like Naruto, but yeah. Next up would be Ryugan. Now, some of you may not even know that character. She's part of the filler where the Celestial were in the end of part 1 Naruto in the anime. So it's filler material. She's there because she has both wind and water. She's not that great most of the time. She goes in end cost and such. Kujaku, same deal, but this one is actually good. So you can force your opponent into charging one of his jutsu each time she attacks, but of course it costs you 2 chakra, so it's like having an extra jutsu when she attacks. Because you're like, okay, this jutsu is a threat, I will get rid of it. But then if your opponent doesn't have any jutsu, you just waste 2 chakra. And this is sad, but this is part of the gimmick, this is part of the game, this is part of the bluff. Utakataha! Again, some of you may not even know who that guy is. Another filler guy, the 6-tail Jinchuriki. We get to see him once in the war, and it's really brief because he gets clapped like the other. Quite good. 2 water, 2 wind. If you pay all 4 chakra, you get to draw 3 and discard 2 of your opponent's chakra. So it eats up a lot of chakra, but you can replenish your end. And this is always something you like. Now, another Celestial. Again, that guy is filler material. And it works very well with Kujaku because Kujaku sends card to your opponent chakra area, and this ninja destroy cards from the chakra area. So maybe eventually in a combo deck I will work out like a Celestial Water, because Celestial Water can really destroy chakras because of that guy. Next up, Baki. Classic Baki. Really big guy. You just send him to attack and poo, you delete someone. And the same thing with this Kazakage. Now, some of you may wonder, oh, but there's a better Baki. You're right, but that better Baki is banned in the rogue list I am using. This is the untap.in rogue list, so yeah. So, following next, mission Floating. A really interesting one drop. I like having mission as many as I can because this is how you set up your late game or your mid game. Make out tactics, classic. Loss, I only run 2 because the next mission is also a 2 drop. And this one has the potential to make you draw 3 during 3 turns. So its potential is immense. It's one of the best water mission in the game. I'm not joking. And trust me, because most of my ninja are wind, I will most likely always draw 3 with this card. It's rare I only draw 2. Next up would be Furious Tempest. Water Wind. Peak skills, peak strength, amazing. Now, let's get the juicy jutsus. So, in my raw list, this jutsu wasn't it. I don't know why. It's so busted, it's so good. It's like a snake sword, but better. Because there are jonin that are lower than turn 5. So, it's so broken, for real. So, we got 3 negate. The idea is to make sure no jutsu hit my Kazakage or my Baki because I want to board wipe and stuff. So that's why I played that many negates. And I also know that some deck relies heavily on their jutsus, so having like 3 negate is really good and recommended. Next up, only 1 Chidori. You may wonder why there's a 1 Chidori and 1 Water Prison. Look, I have 15 deck in this rotation. So I have limited Chidori. They are spread out among 15 decks. So this deck only has 1 because I don't have access to more for this deck since I use other Chidoris in other deck and I don't like proxies. Water Prison Jutsu, because I got no Chidori, that's a good alternate Jutsu. And Hydro Pump, classic. In my rogue list, it's limited to 1 for good reason. Because it's limited to 1, I think it's a fair card to use. Anyhow, that was the Celestial Water Wind. I hope everyone enjoyed. 13 ninjas, 12 mission, 8 jutsus. I feel like that's a staple. I have in this rotation some decks with like 10 mission, 10 jutsus. And I also have 1 or 2 decks in that with like 28, 26 ninjas, but most of the time I recommend 13 ninjas in a deck. Anyhow, that's it. I hope everyone enjoyed. Do all of the YouTube stuff. Like, comment, and subscribe. We will see each other in future video and stream. Have a great day and take care.